You're listening to Inside Carolina Live with Tommy Ashley and Joey Powell on 97.9 The Hill, WCHL, the flagship station for Tar Heel sports.
Welcome back. This is Inside Carolina Live. I'm your host, Tommy Ashley, joined by Gregory Hall, Isaiah Lucas, and AJ on the wheels. Segment number 3 shows rolling along quite quickly. We've got a special guest. Folks will recognize this as one of the best that ever did it at North Carolina. Certainly put up major numbers. Mr. Ryan Switzer. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking.
I hope rehab's coming along well. Hope the family's doing good. Hope the little man's doing good. I wanted to have you on because you were part of a big shift in North Carolina football from 2014 to 2015. And it involved Gene Chizik and Charlton Warren coming to Carolina. But before we get to those guys and their presence, tell me, Ryan, about the shift for you guys from 14 to 15 and what went down in that locker room to make such a big difference on the field.
Yeah, so, I kind of hinted at it a little bit on Twitter the other day, just with, talking about players taking a look at themselves and player ownership and whatnot. And, essentially that's what took place. That's what happened. We had a locker room who was really disappointed. Like, there was a real sense of disappointment in the way that we performed as players. I know for me personally, even though I led the team in catches and in yards, I felt really upset that the work that I had put in the off season didn't translate to a successful, not only team season, but an individual season. So there was a lot of disappointment. And I think that led to a lot of self-correction, honestly, man. I really do. I think that even at the age that those kids are and that we were in college, man, there was a lot of maturity and adult-like response to adversity that happened. And, I look back on that off season, and there was just a focus on it from coaching staff to players. Coach Fedora brought in a military. I can't remember the exact name of the company, but you'll get the point of what I'm saying. He brought in a military-like company, a group of 4 guys that would teach us how to communicate. They would teach us, the proper way to handle stressful situations. And that's just kind of a gist of what took place in the off season. It wasn't just about working out harder. It wasn't just about running sprints faster. It was about creating a bond through adverse situations and learning to, adapt to those. And it sounds like a lot, but it's very, very fixable. It's something that it seems, at least with this 2021 Carolina team, it seems very similar in some of the things that we experienced as a 14 team.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing here is the similarities are 100% there. Describe the importance of having a player-led team versus a coach-led team. Mac talks about it all the time. Most coaches talk about it all the time. And you can have the greatest coach that's ever done it. But if you don't have the player-led side of it, describe as a player how important that is for you guys.
Well, it's huge, and being on the pro side of it for the last 5 years now, I mean, you really understand it. If you need any extra motivation, if you need any coach-driven, I got to do this, I got to do that. At this level that I'm at, you'd just be fired. It just gets you out of there. Like, they don't have time for that. So it should translate, to the college level. Not that the kids are going to get fired, but you've got to have a sense of pride in your work. That comes first and foremost. Like, you as an individual have to have a sense of pride about yourself that first you're going to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself in your job, you can't take care of others, right? So you got to first take care of yourself, but then you got to be a guy who holds others accountable by not only doing the right things on and off the field and handling your assignments and your alignments on the field correctly, but by getting others involved, right? And the player-led aspect of it, great teams are player-led, and that's 100% fact, because the coaches can send the call, the coaches can put you in the right spot, and sometimes the coaches might not even put you in the right spot, but you got to be able to make it happen. Like, the players are the ones that are out there making it happen, and that is true today as it was back, when they first invented this game. So, I believe that, yes, you have to have a figurehead or figureheads in the building who these kids can look up to and who know that they got their back. But ultimately, the kids have to have a sense of pride in what they're doing in order for, this ship to sail in the right direction.
Ryan, Gregory here. Thanks for joining us. I'm just curious what you think Charlton Warren and Gene Chizik's role will be now that they have been hired, and obviously Jay Bateman parting of ways, that's how Mac put it and whatnot. But what do you think their immediate role is? Is it to just remind the guys of everything you just said? Because it's not like they've never heard that before, right? So how do they kind of get that into the locker room and have a similar change to what happened during that offseason between 2014 and 2015?
Yeah, I believe that I don't know how much that will be spoken about the 14 off season, but honestly, there doesn't need to be much talk about it. It's a brand new team, it's a new staff, it's a new set of players. I think what Coach Chiz and Coach Warren initially are going to do, and these players are going to see it, is they're going to be challenged immediately. Like, as soon as that first meeting with Coach Chizik happens and Coach Warren happens, and these players hear what's about to come out of those two guys' mouth, these players are going to be immediately challenged. Like, there's going to be a sense of, I got to get my act together. Like, if I had it together, I got to get it even more together. If I didn't have it together, I got to get it together. Because that's what the presence of those two guys do. Chizik has got this demeanor about him, this sense of excellency about him, that when he walks in the building, his presence automatically liberates others. Like, his presence automatically brings you higher. And that's what we saw when we first got introduced to Coach Chizik, and I think the most important thing, Coach Chizik talked about it in his press conference, just he's a coach for the players. He had relationships on the defensive side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball. He's a foundation piece that I believe that this team needed to bridge the gap from whatever the disconnect was, in this 21 season. He's going to have both of them, Coach Warren and Coach Chizik, are going to have a tremendous amount of talent to work with. Everybody can say that, right? I mean, everybody knows Carolina's got the talent. They've got the talent now. They've got the talent coming in. Coach Brown and his staff have done a phenomenal job recruiting, and now you just have to have the right people to set an example. Chiz will set that example. I promise you, he will set that example verbally. He will set that example physically, and he will demand excellence, and he will get the most out of those kids. That was probably my most the reason I was most excited about this hire, is because Gene Chizik, his presence illuminates, and he brings the best out of individuals, especially those 18 to 22-year-old kids.
And you weren't the first to reach out to him. That was your old teammate Mitchell Trubisky. But you did.
Oh no! I gotta take credit. I was the first. Mitch asked me for Chiz's number.
Oh. Well, then you're gonna have to tell Chiz that, because he's telling us it was Mitch.
No. Mitch and I had called, and he was like, "Hey man, you gotta send me Coach's number." I was like, "I got you." So I did hear that in his press conference the other day. I thought that was funny. Yeah, I gotta give Coach Chiz a hard time about that.
So on the field, in practice, talking to Taylor Vipolis earlier this week, and he told us a funny story about how on day one it was obvious that the physicality was going to be brought from Chizik's defense, and Vip got lined up across from none other than MJ Stewart during a board drill, and it did not go well for Vip. But just what do you remember from the changes in practice? I know you were on the other side of the ball, but could you tell anything from what Chizik was doing with the defense that was different practice-wise?
I don't know how much. I don't know if there was a sense of physicality change. I mean, Vip, I didn't sense that. Like, I didn't sense as soon as we stepped on the field, for spring practice or whatnot, like, oh man, like, this is just. I believe that the defense was more confident in what they were doing, specifically in their assignments. I mean, Coach Chizik brought it up the other day in his press conference. Coaches are teachers, and great teachers are great simplifiers. And that's what he did. He just simplified the system. And football is a very complex game, but to those who really know it, it's simple. And he simplified the assignments and the alignments for those guys and just allowed them to be who they are. Coach Warren brought a unique coverage style. I mean, in the league, you can't get away with it. There's this, it's called catch technique, right, where, the DBs are playing at 5 to 6 yards, and as soon as the offensive player gets in their space, it's kind of like, it's not a grab, but it's kind of like a stop the momentum of the receiver, and that's something really difficult to deal with. I will say that, made me a tremendously better receiver because of the things that I had to deal with in terms of the technique that those guys brought over. But I don't know if there's going to be like a huge physicality shift. I think there's going to be a big mind change shift. I think there's going to be a simplification of what I need to do, when I need to do it, and how I need to do it, which will then just bring out the best in those guys. It'll allow those guys to be the guys that they recruited and come in and just wreak havoc.
Ryan Switzer here with Inside Carolina Live. Ryan, I appreciate you taking a moment out of your Saturday morning to talk to us. Let me ask just a next level question. For the normal person, for the Carolina football fan or a college football fan, for you, what was the biggest difference in going from college to the pro level, just on a granular level?
Right off the bat, I think it's just the mental aspect of it. There's just a sense of pressure at the professional level. If you're not a fully guaranteed first round, or 6 or 7 year veteran who's on a 2 or 3 year deal, there's a sense of pressure, man. And, I came in and had a phenomenal rookie season. I was really proud of the work that I had accomplished, especially on the kick return aspect, not having did that in college and being all rookie team. I think the first trade that I went through, the first really blindside moment of what the heck, what do you mean I'm getting traded? Like I signed a 4-year deal in Dallas. Like what? Why am I getting traded? I think that was when my eyes kind of opened up to the pressure of all of this and what it really means, and that your football career could really be over like that, no matter whether you thought it would be or not. There's just a feeling of comfort in college, like, okay, I'm on scholarship, or I know for a fact I've got 4 years or maybe 5 years, and even now probably more so with the fact that, okay, if I'm not playing, I could just hop in this portal, and go somewhere else where I'm wanted. So I think at least for me, I mean, I'm sure you get 100 different answers if you asked 100 different people. I think for me, the difference was the pressure aspect of it, just the fact that, it is a job now. Your performance does dictate whether you continue to play, whether you continue to get paid. Fortunately for me, I've been able to get 5 years out of it. I'm hoping I can get another 5. But I think that would be the difference in my point of view.